In the world of anime, there lies a genre that is both loved and hated by the anime community. Now don't get me wrong, there are some fantastic examples of how this genre can be done correctly. However, there are those that make me question why they were ever created in the first place. Anyway, today I'll be talking about the wonderfully hated world of Isekai. If you've never seen an Isekai, you might consider yourself lucky, but allow me to explain how most of these start off. Start the montage. This guy right here, Truck-kun, is the sole reason for many characters being thrown into oblivion. Now, being unalived and sent to another world seems like a fine idea, right? Some might even say it's every weeb's dream. Wrong! Depending on what world you end up in, you could show up like this, or even this! Doesn't sound so good now, does it? Well, congratulations, you've learned how Isekai starts. Now let's dive into some of the problems people have with this genre. If you get into Isekai, you'll notice a trend pretty quickly. Most of the MCs look bland overall, so bland you'd think it was the same character every time. However, this is done on purpose because the creators want the viewer to place themselves into this anime as the MC, giving them a sort of escape from reality, which is a big thing you'll come across. Another problem people have is that the character being transported is always a random nobody from the real world.
Hello, I am John. I am a very unique and not generic individual.
But I guess that would also be done on purpose to show that you don't have to be special to blah 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 inspirational quote. But I think that's just lazy writing and not putting enough effort into creating a unique and interesting MC. Now this isn't always the case, as there are some MCs who are interesting and make the show worth watching. Speaking of lazy writing, let's talk about some of the plots or lack thereof. Many isekais revolve around the main character having to defeat some type of demon lord. Like, how common are these demon lords that every fantasy world seems to be riddled with them? Can't they come up with some other type of overpowered villain? I'm so sick of all these demon lords! Back to what I was saying, you'll notice that a lot of these plots are really lacking in rich storytelling and world building, which I feel is a very important factor in creating a wonderful isekai, because the creators have the opportunity to really create a mind-blowing world. But most of the time, our main character is dropped into some big city surrounded by walls. Not those walls. Yeah, that's better. Now bringing it back to the plot, sadly most isekai really break down into 6 main things. Get reborn, get crazy powers, build a harem, go on an adventure to defeat the demon lord, mid-season hot spring episode, this is a must, have a ridiculously long name. Don't believe me on that last one? Let's look at some examples. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. I'm the villainess, so I'm training the final boss. The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. The misfit of Demon Academy, history strong as a demon king, reincarnates and goes to school with his descendants. The reason for these absurdly long titles is because the isekai sector is so saturated that they have to make their own anime stand out by having these wacky names that also give you a look into what the show will be about. Most of the time being transported into another world to either become overpowered or reincarnate as some wacky idea. Speaking of overpowered, another problem people seem to have with isekais is the way in which the MC gets their powers or how easily they are able to power up. A lot of the time, a game menu or level up system is put into place. This concept wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't used all the time! Excuse me. Not only do they use a level up system, but they have extreme XP buffs that allow them to level up so fast that the level up system is almost meaningless. Now there are some isekais that make the MC work for their power. For example, Mushoku Tensei. In this anime, Rudius follows the usual tropes to get to his new world, but his starting point is from the beginning. And by beginning, I mean he entered in as a baby. He then had to grow up and actually study magic in order to get his powers. Not a bad way to do things and a breath of fresh air compared to other isekai power systems. Side note, this anime is very entertaining and a good example of isekai done right, with its world building and storytelling. However, there are some parts of this anime that still don't sit right with me, but I'll save that for another video. Another example of proper leveling up would be Shangri-La Frontier. Yes, this is about being in a video game, so slightly different, but not really because it's another world. Hence, isekai. Sunraku is a very gifted gamer who has played countless hours and earned a lot of his skill. So you'd think in this new game, he'd get extreme XP boosts and easily defeat any boss. However, you'd be slightly mistaken. He has to level up and earn skills just like any other player. And when faced with new monsters, he has to overcome them by only using his previous gaming knowledge and learning new mechanics. This anime is fantastic and I do highly recommend it if you're into gaming and action. Now look, With all this being said, I personally believe that Isekai is a genre that can be done well if actual effort is put in. Yes, it's a little oversaturated, but some of these crazy new ideas actually seem very entertaining. And looking for a good Isekai is a challenge, but when you do finally uncover one, it's like finding a sight of grace after suffering through hell. So if you'd like a video going over actual good Isekais, let me know in the comments and get this video to 100 likes. Thanks for watching.